Join us as we review our first full year of travel. We will go over the places that we visited during the year, and then we will discuss what we spent to make it all happen. Now, we started traveling in 2023, but our first full year of travel was in 2024 this year. So we want to share our financial breakdown of our first full year of travel. Now, I know a lot of people are curious about how much it costs to travel full time for a year. And in our case, we're traveling most of the year, not the whole year full time. And for those of you who are new to our channel, we downsized last year from our house that we had. We had a larger house, and we moved to a two-bedroom condo in a more affordable area. And so we have a home base that we maintain. And we spent about 4 months out of the year at that home base, and we travel the rest of the year. Now, Kevin and I are a team, and so he takes care of the finances and all the issues involved with our home base. And he also takes care of the transportation and the logistics of moving around from city to city and country to country, and visa, entry requirements in some of the different various countries that we're visiting. I focus on accommodations and tracking the budget, and also maintaining this YouTube channel. So we're pretty busy, but it's a blessing to be able to do this. But this type of travel is a lot of work.
All right. So what did we do in 2024? That is the question. We started 2024 off by coming back from Mexico and spending a month in Georgia. We spent the time with our families and friends. We enjoyed our time being back in the U.S. after being on the road for a couple months in 2023. February, eventually we come back to our home base, spend some time there with a small detour towards the middle of February. We saw some more friends in South Carolina, and then decided to take a trip down to Mexico in Belize, just because it was still a little cold in Virginia. We decided that those trips there, about 10 days, but we got a chance to see some friends and then also enjoy some new areas. Mexico we had been to before, Playa del Carmen, quick trip. And then Belize was a new place. We had opportunity to go down and spend some time. Great trip. And the logistics of trying to get down to Belize, last minute, we decided to do that. But March, for the most part, we were at home. I did some small trips, met some friends out in Tennessee, and we enjoyed time with those guys.
So that takes us to spring. So now it is April, and we boarded the Norwegian Epic cruise ship, and we did a repositioning cruise transatlantic from Florida to Italy. And once we landed in Civitavecchia, Rome, and we went up to Livorno, and then we took another cruise. We did an MSC cruise. It's an Italian cruise line from Livorno, and we sailed through the Mediterranean. Some of the stops were France, Spain, Tunisia, Naples. And then we got off and visited some friends because we were stationed in Italy years ago. So we visited some friends in Italy and then made our way to Venice. And we got a chance to actually spend the night in Venice because when we lived there, we would do day trips. So we actually got a chance to spend a night in Venice along one of the canals. That was really a highlight. And then we left Venice and went to Lisbon.
Okay, now that we have spent time, we're in Lisbon. I had been to Lisbon before, but it was Trinice's first opportunity. So we spent a couple weeks in Lisbon. We had some friends there. We were hooked up with some expats groups, met some new people, but absolutely adore Lisbon. Had some good things to do there. Not only did we do Lisbon, we did go down to Lagos. We flew down there, or took the train down to Lagos, and beautiful area. Absolutely had a wonderful time. From there, we flew to Athens, Greece, and spent some time in Athens, Greece as we prepared for our third cruise of 2024. Brand new cruise line. It was the Virgin Cruises. We had never taken Virgin before, similar to not being on MSC for me.
And then after we got on the Virgin Cruise, we got off, and then we did island hopping throughout the Greek Isles. So it was a really nice trip. So now it's June, and so we left Athens, Greece, and we flew back from Athens back to the United States. And while we're in the United States, we landed in the DC area where we used to live. And so we had a chance to visit friends in that area. And we also got an opportunity to go to the White House, which is something I've been wanting to do for decades. And so we finally made the time and did that and got a chance to go visit the White House. And also in June, I did a girls trip with some of my former colleagues that I used to work with. So that was really nice. So now it is July.
It's July. Wow, the year is halfway over with already. Mm-hmm. So in this part, July, we did the family thing, 4th of July, spent some time with the family. But in addition to that, I took a lot of baseball trips. So I covered most of the East Coast and Midwest teams, going to see those different baseball stadiums. Started in Baltimore, up to New York, Toronto, Cleveland, Detroit, Colorado, Minnesota. God, what am I missing? I think that was it. So, but
a lot of places, yeah.
Yeah. So about 30 days of baseball. I rode solo. Trinice is not a baseball fan
at all.
So it's a good time for me to just kind of go and view those different stadiums. So far, if you notice, I got the Detroit Tigers hat on. And I really did enjoy Detroit. Have some friends there that I went to school with, spent some time with them, and also got a chance to see some baseball.
Okay, so while Kevin was out enjoying himself on his baseball trip, I decided to leave from the 4th of July with our family, and I went down and gallivanted in the state of Florida with some family. We went and did some of the parks there, and we had a great time. So that was a lot of fun to spend time with them. And then in August, we did a princess cruise. It was to the Southern Caribbean, and it was 14 days long, and we did a lot of ports there in the Caribbean. And I've posted most of those videos. I still have 2 more places that I need to do, so I will do those videos for you guys to see as well. So it was a beautiful ship, the Princess. It was our first time sailing the Princess cruise line. We enjoyed it, the Princess Enchanted. And we got to see a lot of new places, ports on this particular trip that we did in August.
Right, in September, I had a chance to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil, to see the NFL experience in Sao Paulo. Went down with a buddy. He's a big Eagles fan, so we had a good time. About 4 or 5 days down in Sao Paulo. Trinice, she went to see some more family. She also went to see some of her girls that they went down to Charleston, South Carolina. And then to close out September, we went to Arizona, and we also went to Las Vegas. Yes. It was our first opportunity to go to the Grand Canyon and also to see a football game in Vegas. Got a chance to see the Raiders out in their stadium.
Raiders. That's in my head forever.
So it was a good way to close out September and start October.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I do enjoy baseballs. I'll take that back. I do enjoy football, but not so much baseball. So I think baseball is the only sport that I don't enjoy watching, but yeah.
You got a gallivant.
I got a gallivant. Yeah. Gallivant away from there.
Oh yeah, you got a gallivant.
So anyway, I do not enjoy baseball, but I do and really enjoy football games. So that was fun.
Now we're entering into October, and so we're preparing for our next major big trip. And we decided we better go see some family and friends and and everything before we leave out. So we did the month of October to take trips, quick trips, over in Tennessee, Indiana, DC, and Georgia. So not necessarily what you would call long trips, but just kind of 4 or 5 days here and there. Come November, flew to Lisbon, and we started a 21-day cruise in down the west coast of Africa, the Canary Islands. With our final stop going to be in December, we would end up in Cape Town.
The cruise dropped us off in Cape Town. And so we left Cape Town and spent a week there. And now we are in Asia. We're in Thailand. So we're ending the year here in Thailand. Whew, what a year. Between the two of us, we visited a total of 5 continents. We did a boatload of countries. And according to our travel app, if it's correct, they're saying that we traveled 96,316 miles, which is enough to circle the world 3.8 times. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they said. And we did put in a lot of mileage. So, how much did we actually spend on our year of travel? Let's break down the different categories.
So, as we talked about it, we did 5 cruises in 2024. Started with NCL Transatlantic. We had the MSC. We had the Virgin Atlantic. We then came back and did
Those Virgin Voyages.
Virgin Voyages.
Yeah, Virgin Atlantic, I think it's the plane.
Okay.
I'll check.
Well, whatever.
Virgin Voyages, yeah.
The rich guy, his ship company. We were riding on his ship. We got that experience. And then we came back and we did another cruise with NCL, which was our down the western coast of Africa.
Yeah, Norwegian Sky.
Norwegian Sky. So that all together, looking at those cruises, that was about 17K, just over 17K for us to do that. And again, that's about 4 or 5 cruises that we took.
So next category is accommodations. So we use Airbnb, Booking, Hotels.com, any hotel points that we have. And I usually will sit down, as I love researching and looking at all the different properties. And so I'll usually come up with about 3 different properties, and then Kevin makes the final decision from those properties the list that I come up with. So that way we've agreed on the place. So if it's a horrible place and when we get there, we're like, who picked this place? And we both did. I come up with a list and then he selects the final one. So our grand total for accommodations for the year of 2024 was $14,507.42.
All right, so how much did our transportation cost? So for the most part, we've used some YouTuber suggestions on credit card hacking, and we've gotten some travel credit cards. So for the most part, they've taken care of everything for the big miles, for the big long haul trips that we've had to do. So we saved a lot there. But there are those instances where we're not able to use points, especially for smaller trips when we're going to see family within the U.S., or it wasn't worth using the points because we knew we were going to have to use those points for our bigger trips. So we paid out of pocket for those. So all those smaller trips that we talked about, especially for the baseball games, that came to just over $7,000 for us to do that for the entire year of 2024. And I'm not sure. I know we put some trains in there as
those different flights between countries. Yeah, Kevin does a really good job with that transportation piece.
So planes, flights between countries, sometimes on some of the smaller, less known airlines that we were able to use, ferry boats that connect us to different places. So altogether, though, a little bit over 7K in transportation costs.
I think he did a fantastic job this year to all the places we went, and we only spent $7,000. I think, yeah, fantastic job on the transportation piece. The next category, something we all have to do, is food. And so we, of course, did a lot of dining out. And also, we went to the grocery store if we had an Airbnb. It was nice when we did a longer stay. We found out that over the course of the year and towards the end of last year, that 30 days was a lot of time to spend. So we try to get between 7 and 10 days minimum. Because then you can go to the grocery store. Is actually worth going. We also try to only eat 2 meals a day, and so hopefully save that way. But our grand total this year was, wait for it, $11,362.53. So I think that was a little costly. So maybe we can eat a little bit less and gain a little bit less. So it won't be quite as heavy as well. So I'm really going to try to work on decreasing that next year. But that was our cost for food. That's eating out and also going to the grocery store. And I think looking back at our budget, we did a lot of dining out. So hopefully we can step back from that a little bit more and not spend as much on the food. Now, as far as activities, we do a lot of DIY. I spend a lot of hours researching. We also do tours through Get Your Guide, Airbnb experiences, or shore excursions through the ship if we're doing a cruise. And so for activities, our cost for the year was $5,675.58. I thought that was pretty good.
So now we're starting to look at some of the miscellaneous costs that we had left over. Some different fees, like certain places we did have to get visas. So there's a fee in there for that. If you decide you want to get your hair cut, your beard trim, whatever the case may be, just personal hygiene, things that you want to go out and treat yourself to. Different places, you want to get the laundry done. We've learned from some of the other expats is that when you're doing long-term travel, don't take a lot of clothes, take enough, and then basically wash. And so that's why you sometimes see us in some of the same things
Over and over again.
That's what we've decided. It's not worth the hassle to take a lot of different clothes and everything. And then just some basic shopping stuff. You gotta have toothpaste, you gotta have mouthwash, you gotta get
Toiletries.
all those different toiletries that you need. Or you mess up a pair of shoes. I gotta go buy a pair of shoes. Or you need a new mic stand. I gotta go buy a new mic stand.
Or it's raining, you get an umbrella, and then once you buy the umbrella, it stops raining.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So this comes back to ask the question. So altogether, when you're looking at miscellaneous transportation, housing, the cruises, all the things that we just talked about in this video, how much did we really, really spend throughout 2024 for travel and for these number of cities? And I don't know how many different cities we visited.
A lot.
But what we come up with using our travel app is that they're telling us we spent in the neighborhood of $57,000 for almost 12 months of travel.
Well, I mean, without the 4 months for the full year travel. Yeah. Because we have 4 months that we stayed at home. And so 8 months. 8 months of travel.
8 months of travel.
8 months of travel. So $57,198.17. So how did we do? Now, our initial budget, proposed budget for each month is $5,000 a month. And I explained in a previous video that I did about travel styles and budget, how we came up with that amount. And I will put a link in the video in the description below so that you can check out that video. So we were under budget for the year. So for some people, they would think, hey, that's a lot of money. And then others would think that, wow, you were able to do that much on that amount of money. So it's all perspective, but this is still less expensive than our previous life that we lived when we had the big house and working two jobs and the commute and all that. So it's still a lot less expensive. Also, with this budget this year, we went to some expensive places. Europe was very expensive. And when you're in the Schengen zone, you can only be there for 90 days, less than 90 days. And so we try to pack as much as we could into those the 2 months that we were there. So a big chunk of our budget was spent in Europe, and it was very expensive. And we moved around a lot, so we had a lot more transportation costs, a lot more hotel costs, things like that. The ferries, all that stuff starts adding up, and so that increased our budget also for this year. So, one of the things I like to do when I do budgeting is to go back and see what are some things that we can work on, improve on for the next year. So, what are some lessons that we learn, and what are some things we can improve on? One of the things is budgeting, tracking the budget. I really struggled in this area. It's a lot simpler when you just have your household expenses, you're maintaining that, but trying to do this on the road and keep track of all the expenses was really tough for me. I tried to do project costs, like, for instance, in January, if we paid for Airbnb that we were going to use in March, I would put that amount in the March category, and it was just getting to be difficult to keep track of all that. So next year going forward, whenever we pay for something, we're going to put in that month that we paid it. So I think that'll make it a lot more simpler and not having to try to keep up with all that. Also, Kevin found a great app called Travel Spend. We use that a lot, and it's been fantastic to be able to help us track our budget. Another thing that I think I can improve on. We hopefully won't be moving quite as much next year. So hopefully I have more time to research places, because sometimes we'll get there and I will have a list of things to do or a place to stay, but I didn't have enough time to really research. And I think we could have saved more money in certain areas where if I'd had more time to actually spend the time to really dig in and research the area, we probably could have saved a little bit more. In the past, we've done trips, not as many as what we're doing now. We went on trips. I would know a place so well that I could tell you what street to go down. I knew where all the restaurants were. I had it all laid out. I knew the place so well. I watched tons of videos. I had done blogs and all that. So I knew it so well. And with us moving so much and doing so many places, it was a little more difficult to do that. So I felt like that's a way that we could save a little bit more money going forward. And also, with so many places, started to feel a little bit of burnout, which I don't want to do because I do love traveling and I would love to continue to do this.
One of the things that we're going to try in 2025 is to be able to track our budget daily using the Travel Spend app, which we really, really do enjoy. It helps us to keep track. So one of the habits we've gotten into, especially in the latter part of 24, is as soon as we use a credit card or pay cash for something, we actually enter that expense into the Travel Spend app, and it allows us to track. And what that app does is allows us to say, okay, each day, how much money we spent for activities, food, housing, whatever the case may be. It allows us to spend or see exactly that number. Also, in 2025, we said we're going to do less travel. Trinice talked about it does kind of lead to burnout if you're on the road so much. You don't get a chance to research and do some things. So we will have less trips in 2025. And we're going to use another approach where many of the people that we talked to this year kind of described, hey, they would do not necessarily plan way in advance looking for a good deal, but they will look for also some last minute trips.
So that was our travel expenses for the year of 2024. Do we need to go back to work? No. In fact, we're going to try hard not to have to go back to work. But we will keep this same budget and we will work to make it even more affordable next year. For us, this is still less expensive than our old life and a whole lot more fun. Of course, everyone's expenses are going to be different, but I hope that our experience can give you a rough idea of what to expect. And remember, travel is an investment in yourself and your experiences, and it's worth every penny. I wouldn't change it for the world. Do you have any words of wisdom or advice that you could give or share about your travel expenses, how you're tracking, how you're saving money? Please share those ideas, suggestions, comments, words of wisdom in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching today. We hope you enjoyed our video. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Take care, everyone, and safe travels.